walking away from this $560,000 house with nothing. In just a few minutes, as soon as this video's over, I'm walking out the door behind the camera for the last time and moving on with my life. 2 years ago, I had $30,000 in sweat equity that me and my fiance put towards this house and 40 grand in my savings. That's all gone. I was convinced that this real estate hustle was the fast track to retirement. Maybe you've heard something similar, that investing in a home is going to create stability and wealth in your life. For me, it did the opposite.
Now, I have been saying this for such a long time, and I'm going to continue to say it because I seen this video earlier and it really resonated with me, and I want to hear what you guys think about this, which is, guys, a home is not always the best investment, okay? To be honest with you, if you look at a home strictly for investment purposes, you're going to struggle. It doesn't mean, right, that you will not become successful into real estate, because a lot of people do become successful into real estate. But a lot of people just go into it with the mentality of, I'm trying to flip my first home or get rental income. I'm going to make so much money. And they don't have the proper education or the proper knowledge to get into real estate. They just don't. They just jump in there thinking that everything is going to work out. And it's not. It is certainly not, because a home, guys, for majority of people, is just a place to live. And that's it. Nothing more, nothing else. But now, if you want to flip homes and you want to do all of that, okay, it's a different story. But you need to have the capital to do that. You need to have the right knowledge to do that. And time again, you're seeing all these people all over TikTok making it seem so easy to just get into real estate, flip homes, get rental income. Like, it's so simple, and it's not. It's a lot of hard work. It's a lot of grind, and you certainly need to know exactly what you're doing before you get into it. And it seems like in his case, I mean, from the beginning of the video, him saying he's walking out, this sounds like a disaster.
When I was living in Michigan, things were stable. The house was extremely affordable. I was able to save a lot of money. Nothing was glamorous. We had to fix it up quite a bit, but things were peaceful, simple, and cheap. And then one day, I was on the phone with a friend I'd known for quite some time, and he was talking to me about the real estate hustle out here in Denver. Joe, your money out here in a $500,000 home is going to, over 30 years, appreciate for way more than $180,000 in Michigan. I was skeptical, as I always am, but I'd been listening to things like Bigger Pockets podcast and catching wind of this whole real estate investment thing as a way to house hack your way into an early retirement. So I got bought into it pretty quick.
That shit never works, man. If someone comes to you and they're saying, yeah, it's going to appreciate by a certain number, you cannot listen to that. Because the truth is, you never know. There's so many variables and things that can happen within a neighborhood that can change the price of your home, and the appreciation can either accelerate the appreciation or decelerate. You know, everyone always thinks that your home value is always going to go up. It's not always the case. A majority of times it is, especially if you live in the right area. But even with that being the case, you still run the risk of losing value of your home. And especially if you're doing rental income, you might not have any tenants. You might think you could flip a house and get the amount of money that you could get. You might not. You might just break even. Things are never perfect. But that's like the thing, man. I keep on hearing so many people just always say, well, the house you're going to appreciate. In the house, you will make so much money. It's not the case, man. Just buy it. If you're going to buy a house, guys, stop worrying about appreciation. Is this the neighborhood you want to live in? Is this the house that you truly want to stay in? Because most people get houses for stability. And he also mentioned in the video, you know, he's thinking about retiring, and he wants to retire early, pretty much. So some people want to do real estate because they think they could retire early. You know, retirement account, guys, is something that you still need to do. You still need to build, you know, a retirement account. If you have a job with a 401k, put money into it, a Roth IRA. Those are still the things you need to do to protect yourself from the future. And everything else in between, you know, in this case is real estate. If you're getting into real estate investments, it's just, you're just playing around with it to see what happens, you know, learn and grow and see what happens. Not everyone will become a success, and not everyone will become a failure. But with that being the case, you certainly need to make sure, though, there's a certain amount of money that you have saved and aside, just in case shit don't work out the way you want it to, that at least in the future, you could retire at the age of 65, maybe, if this doesn't work out. But at least you know you don't have to work for your whole entire life. There's many ways to invest. And just doing real estate by itself, not thinking about your future and retiring, is not a good option.
The truth is, I didn't have a plan for retirement. That's one of the first things he asked me in the conversation was, What's your plan? Do you even have one right now? And the truth was, no, I was just banking money. I didn't have even a grand in a 401k or anything like that. I was just rolling with things, working the cushy job. And because of that, I was vulnerable to someone else's plan influencing me.
That's the reason why so many people go on social media. They get so influenced. Like, you know what? I do hate my 9 to 5. I want to start my own business and I want to make so much money like that guy said. Oh, he sells a course? I'm going to buy that course. Come on, guys. Life is never that simple. I always tell people, day in, day out, in life, you really can't have a goal. I don't believe in goals. Because once you have a goal, it seems very linear. Like if I do this, I get that. But that's not what life is about. Life is messy. Life is nasty. But along the way, if you embrace it, you could pivot, you could learn, you could grow. And hey, maybe you might not get into real estate. Maybe you might discover you're better at rather than buying homes or flipping it. Maybe you're better at being a real estate agent. Or maybe you're just better at just investing in a rates and dealing with a whole different business venture, but you still like real estate, but you want to invest in rates and make money that way. There's so many things that you can learn. There's so many things you can learn along the journey, which is, man, just simply just saying like, I'm going to get in real estate. I'm not thinking about retirement, nothing. It's not always a good thing, man. It really isn't. Because life, as much as we wish it was that simple, it is not that simple.
And there were early signs that there was a misalignment coming. I just rejected them. When we were first debating coming out here, I was on the phone with my friend arguing that, well, Denver doesn't have as good of growing conditions for having a garden or anything like that. And he said, Joe, are you really going to make, this foolish financial choice because you can't have a garden out in Denver? And that sounds kind of silly, but the truth is that was a hint at what my values were and where I wanted to be in life, and me not holding my ground to build the type of future that I truly wanted. One of the bigger signs was my friend's brother bought a house a few years before us, and his house actually went down in value. And also, when we came to move in here, we found out a lot of things were left unfinished. There were little corners cut. Like, for instance, this used to have a bunch of soot all over it that the contractor was supposed to clean up, and he never did. We had to do it ourselves.
That is a big red flag. If someone already has a house and is depreciating, that is right there letting you know whatever you're about to do is not a good idea. Now, granted, guys, it's not always the case. I get it. Buying a house is really about the timing and the location and it's your experience. And as a real person who's in real estate, maybe one of you guys out there could drop a comment down below. All the deals you have done have not always been the best deals. It's probably been some losses, probably been some break evens, probably been some that you made a little less than you expected, and probably some that you made a whole lot more than you expected. It's always a risk. And him simply saying, I want to guard and this and that. Guys like, don't worry about it. Listen, if you don't truly feel it in your gut, what you're about to do, even if it sounds stupid to someone else, it's like, just don't do it. If someone got to persuade you to do something, guys, something is just not right. Why would someone persuade you so much to invest and to get into real estate and to do all these things if you don't feel good about it? Like, why is that person so much pushing you into it? Now, I get it. Somebody's trying to get you out of your comfort zone. I get it. But I always question people. I'm like, yo, what's your motive? Like, why you need me to get invested so much? Like, what's going on here? And it seems like his gut was telling him one thing, and it does not seem like he stuck to his gut.
But, we dove in. We, with a lot of hesitation, bought this really expensive house, and things started to look sketchy pretty quickly. Our renters, we did not get along with them very well, and turns out being a landlord just wasn't for us. It was very annoying for me. And I think maybe it would be different if I was a landlord for people living not in my building with me. But in this case, I didn't really have a choice because the mortgage here was so expensive. We had to offset the cost somehow. And that was the only way. We had to put up with people in our basement that we didn't get along with for an entire year.
Now, that's not a good plan whatsoever. My dog just grabbed my shoes and ran away with it. I'm just going to finish this video, let him play with it. But this guy is just way too much. He's way too much. Oh, my dog, my dog, my dog. Anyway, guys, listen, if your business plan, right, into real estate is contingent upon buying a house and then renting it out like a floor for other people, that's like one of the worst things to do. Now, I understand for some people that's a house hack and they could deal with it. But if you're not built for that life, having someone like a tenant in your basement, that's a huge risk that you have. And I believe he said he was married. So you're bringing your spouse into this situation, dealing with tenants, and it's a miserable decision because obviously Not every tenant is good. It's hard to find good tenants. When you do, that's awesome. But to have them in your home, living in your basement, and in his case, it seemed like it didn't work out, that is the hardest thing, guys, when it comes to real estate. And people just fail to understand. There's a lot of variables in place to make it a perfect deal. I believe it was Stephan, and he said in one of his videos, he's like, he never increases the price of his rent, especially if he has a good tenant, because that's the most hardest thing to get. Once you have them, you want to hold on to it. But then once again, once you have that, then yeah, it'll become successful. But it's just along the journey, you're going to have some bad situations, and that's just the way it's going to be. It's never going to be easy. Now, once again, I know I'm probably sounding like a pessimist about getting into real estate and stuff like that. I am not. I just want to make you aware that everything is not as rosy as everyone says it is. It's nasty, it's bumpy, and it could pay you off in the end. It could make it extremely, extremely lucrative. But for some people who really don't have the heart to get into it and really learn about real estate, it can eat you alive. It's not that simple. It's like a saying I said, if something was easy to get, then it's not worth having. And people make it seem like real estate and building wealth is easy. It is not.
And then some bigger things started to happen. The light right behind the camera here just started leaking water one day during a blizzard because the contractor cut another corner. He was supposed to redo the roof during the remodel of the home and didn't do it. So we had to twist his arm to pay for half of the job he was supposed to do to begin with. There were all these little signs hinting that this was not the best choice for us.
And that right there is the cost of home ownership. Dealing with contractors suck. That's probably one of the worst things I got to deal with, man, is their contractors. Because a lot of them are not, what's what I'm looking for? I don't want to say not reliable, but they kind of move at their own pace. Sometimes they take on too many jobs. And whenever they say, oh, it's going to be done in 2 weeks, nah, it's like 3 or 4 weeks. Sometimes you got to deal with just people not saying what they say they were going to do. Like recently, I was getting a fence. I gave them a deposit. They said it'd be done in a month. Next thing you know, it wasn't a month. They sent a letter to the wrong HOA to get approval. I fixed it. Then they blamed it being delayed on me, even though they sent the HOA letter. It was a mess. And once all said and done, I finally agreed to get my refund. It's a 30-day policy to get your refund back. It took me 2 months to get it back. And the way this person did it was $3,000 they owed me. They gave me $500 one week, $200 another week, $300 a few days. It was a mess. A mess. Even though this person was highly recommended, it was a mess. And that's when I learned my lesson, man. That when it comes to contractors, it's always a risk. And that's the thing as well when it comes to home ownership. If shit breaks, you have to have the money aside to get it fixed, right? Especially if you have tenants. You got to get it fixed. You can't be delaying it, pussyfooting, messing around with getting repairs done. When there's an emergency, guys, you have to get it done.
It was an expensive house. It had problems. All houses do. But on top of it being a lot of money to sustain, it was costing more and more because of all these smaller problems. And then the real collapse happened when I got laid off in April 2024. Suddenly, this plan for my retirement, this house, was my biggest problem. The renters didn't work out, so we went with Airbnb instead when their lease ended. And between that being less reliable for income and me not having one, this house just started hemorrhaging my money away. And that collapse cost me dearly. That 40 grand I had when I first moved here, that's gone. The equity that we used to buy this house, that's gone too. If you watched my other video, you know that we dropped our price to below what we bought it. We're probably barely breaking even here.
Wow, first of all, I appreciate the transparency, but man, that shows you too, man. Just when you think everything is working fine, everything is great, then here comes a job layoff. And that's where everything comes tumbling down. It doesn't mean, guys, you should be afraid to take your goals, to go for your goals and your dreams. It doesn't mean that you should try to be as ambitious as possible. But you have to just plan for the unexpected. You just truly do. And throwing all your eggs into one basket, going to live in Colorado, doing all these things. And now when it's all said and done, he lost his job and now he's selling his house to break even. Well, at least that is what he's getting back. At least he's breaking even. They could restart again, retool. And you know what? Maybe he might stick to real estate, right? I don't think he should quit it. Maybe he should stick with it and learn, okay, take baby steps before I start, getting into real estate. But this just shows you guys that you have to be really careful, especially for people now who own a home. Everyone loves to tell you now, well, take the equity from your home now and invest in property. That way you can make so much money. Or leveraging other people's money, you'll make so much. There's a risk being played here, okay? If you're taking equity from your home and you get a house, you might be in a situation like him that things might not work out, and that just made everything that you were doing at risk. Your primary residency due to the equity, the property you're doing. It's never great. It's never easy, but videos like that where people are being transparent, I love it because it's letting people know, there is a other side to real estate. There is a other side, guys, in general, with just starting a business or investing. But you just have to do it wisely. Be patient and be consistent and be disciplined. Be extremely disciplined. If someone is telling you all this information, oh, you should do this, you should do that, no. You do your own research and see what works for you because it works for you and your risk tolerance is based upon you. Great video, guys. Go ahead and check out his videos and hit the like and subscribe and catch you guys on my next one. Peace.